Greetings, dear listener, and welcome to the Infinite Escape Room Pubiverse. In this episode, Alan and I are joined by Jack and Franks from the Tales for Wales podcast, where we discuss last week's episode where the gang escaped from the clutches of the Mary Lloyd, chat about the weird and wonderful, but mostly weird, Welsh Christmas traditions, give some recommendations for cool stuff you should check out, and we get into what makes these Tales for Wales chaps tick. So here we are, sitting in the Frosty Mare where the beers are chilled and the floor is covered in hay for some fucking reason, taking a quick break after our escape from the cabin of the Mary Lloyd to have a drink and a chat about the room what we just did. But first, chaps, it's my round, so who's drinking what?
Oh, I'll have a pina colada Baileys, please.
Oh, you fancy bastard. I'm pretty sure they don't serve that in the Frosty Mare.
I'm pretty sure they do.
Well, I have a bit of a cold today, so I'm having a Carlin with a Lemsip chaser, if that's okay. That's what.
Oh, now we're talking.
Yeah.
Weirdly, they do sell that at the Frosty Mare.
Perfect.
That's a hell of a impact on your kidneys, isn't it? That's a lot to process for the old internal organs.
That's going to make your teeth shatter, the hot and the cold mixed together, surely.
I'm essentially the Mary Lloyd now. Just a bag of bones and file down teeth.
I'm Jack, yeah. I'm drinking Belgium's finest, the old Stella Artois. Nothing too fancy in this house, but a little bit more premium than a Carlin, just ever so slightly.
Oh, wow, put the boot in.
Just a one-up.
Yeah. I've everyone like a one-man mission. Because I think me and Jack, we love the pub. We are very big on seeing all our friends and meeting up and going for proper day sessions. And, we're big pubsmen. We love a quiet pint, a solo pint, a pint by a fire, any kind of thing. I romanticize pubs massively.
Pint. I love every pint.
I hate, hipster beers. They got like fennel in them and like rose beer.
Oh, yeah.
I want my lager to be ice cold and bland, like not a single flavor in it. I just want it cold.
Just weak pissed lager, and that's all we're after.
Yeah.
I'm getting pissed.
Yeah. What are you drinking, Barkeep? Because that little cup has enticed me all evening.
Oh, my little cup. So, hello, everybody. I'm Jamie, and listeners to the podcast will know by now exactly what I'm drinking. It's one of my meads that I do like to sip on the podcast. And because we've got a combination of Welsh and history with the Tales for Wales podcast chaps here, I went for both. So I went for a Celteg medieval mead. Probably from Cardiff Christmas Market, to be fair. You can't even see because the camera's blurry, but it's there. And I've got a backup mead in case I polish that one off, which is...
Ooh.
With a cheeky little wax seal on the top of it. So I'm hesitant to open it, but
mead, isn't it? That just like that harkens back to, you're like, I'll drink this mead, I'll go on a raid. I'll drink this mead, I'll burn a village down. It's very like...
it makes me feel like a king.
Yeah.
To be fair, I did buy myself a Viking drinking horn to go with my mead.
Yes!
Oh, nice.
Only way to roll.
Now we're talking. I love it. We're going to have to get just a dedicated mead chat episode at some point. Slowly just bring everybody together.
I'm a big mead fan, so I'd happily contribute to your mead shenanigans.
Yes.
I feel like I need to go on the mead train now, because it is lush. Honey wine, right?
Yeah, it's honey-based.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I had the last one I had was like a Lancaster mead, and that was really nice. And my partner's from the north, and I think her dad got me some, and it's beautiful, very nice.
Oh, lush! I love it. It's so it's like having a sherry, but you don't get that awful aftertaste in your throat.
Oh, that really dry bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's very drinkable. Quite sweet.
Yeah.
So I could polish off a bottle easy.
Sold.
It's like if whiskey was nice. It's like that's how I describe it.
That's what I always wanted it to be.
Yeah, it brings people together. About 10 years back, I got very pissed in an Iron Age roundhouse, drinking mead and singing Erasure until 2:00 in the morning, with a little open fire in the centre, and then promptly chundered in the. I can't say the corner, it's a roundhouse, but chundered in kind of the corner. Didn't realise it was like a historical recreation that they were using for like fucking Time Team later on. Listeners, before we go into the rest of this episode, we will be spoiling the things that happened in the previous episodes. So if you've not listened to the escape from the Mary Lloyd cabin, immediately stop this episode right now. What do you think you're doing? And listen back to that one and then come back here. Oh no, I'm not your dad. You carry on. You do what you like. So the last episode, you chaps ended up in a lovely Welsh winter cabin that had sort of kind of Victorian flavours, and outside was a rather savoury character, namely the Mary Lloyd, who wanted to consume your soul. And so you had to find the 3 magic ingredients that would banish her, say the magic words to activate the potion, and you did really well through some corpse fondling, some cracker pulling, some copious beer drinking, and just raiding the entire pantry of this little cottage to find what you needed. And some excellent poetry as well, might I add. So well done, chaps. You did brilliantly.
It was a standard Airbnb, wasn't it, that? Raiding the getting smashed to the basement. Protection
I do like that we actually had to let her break in.
Yeah, that was a nice touch. I was all for going, come on then, come in, letting her go, here's a potion, and then I'd have had my face chewed off. So yeah, thank God, Alan, you thought about that.
Both would have worked, to be fair. Originally, I'd written it that you needed to put the stuff in the bowl. I was going to say put the lotion in the basket, but that's a different podcast. Put the ingredients in the bowl, chant the words to activate it, then open the door and offer it to her. But Alan, when you mentioned waiting for it to break in and then doing it as she came in, worked just as well. But was really fucking tense. So yeah, go for it. This is perfect. I'm not gonna harsh your buzz on that. You crack on.
Was there anything you thought that we didn't do in order, so to speak? Like I can only imagine when you're concocting these things. The following the dead body probably didn't.
Actually, I expected you to do that a lot sooner. To be honest,
I deferred from doing that because I was kind of hoping that for once, just for once, we didn't need to desecrate the corpse.
Alex quite fond of looting the bodies on the episodes.
I thought you were going to say, I listened to a few episodes of Tales for Wales. I know what that Frankie's like. He probably he goes straight for the corpse. Like I know.
I'm going to go straight for the cat.
So I thought you'd do that first.
I am because I'm an egomaniac. I wanted to at the end give myself for the gang and to open the door to the horse and be like, oh, if this works, and just let it take me to hell with it. And let, even if I died, I wanted the whole thing to be about me dying and being like a Jesus and saving.
Just you could be a hero.
I was going to say, live out your Braveheart fantasy, wouldn't it? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And then I bring a claymore from my back and I twat the cunt. But no,
we'll retitle that last episode then, exposing Frank's martyr complex.
Yeah.
Twatted with a claymore.
Yeah.
I was so I can't my brain doesn't work in that way. Like when Aled was so professional with it, it was like when you play in a PlayStation with your older brother and your controller's not plugged in, and I was just let's do this. It's like, you do it that way, and I'll sort out the actual clue.
Yeah, keep jamming in it, mate. Yeah,
You're doing so well. You got the rug and the trapdoor. You got way quicker than I expected. Like that was the first thing you did. Just rip the rug out and see what's there. It's like, oh shit, if they loot the corpse next, then this episode is going to be finished in about 10 minutes because they'll translate the script, they'll be down in the basement, bish bash bosh, they're done.
Little did you know what little brain power we had to run together.
That's the fun thing, is that you can get tripped up on like the smallest thing. Like you focused on the berries and that holly wreath for ages, and like you'd done the puzzle that involved those berries. You didn't necessarily need to come back to them, but you were like, there has to be something with these berries.
I still think there's something with the berries. I don't know about you, but
you're a lying little shit. You've done something.
Yeah, you changed it mid-script, didn't you? I knew it.
But yeah, and I was impressed as well that you handled the poetry competition with a Mary Lloyd really well. Like you took it in stride.
That's
Yeah, it's fine.
I love a little couplet, don't we?
It's part of the Welsh heritage, isn't it, mate? You know, the inner bard. Yeah.
Bad.
It all comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, Frank's is half lettuce, so I'm not sure if...
Yeah, he's in touch with the earth, mate. You know, he's nature bound.
Again, listeners, if you've not listened to the previous episode, Frank's is half lettuce. You've got to listen
Massive
to that
spoiler.
to get that reference. That's a callback.
to highlight my and Jack's anxiety, we were so stressed thinking about coming up with this sentence. I've written about 3 separate ones, and I was like, "Oh God, no!" I panicked.
I did the thing where you write something and then and you go, "Yeah, that's solid," and then you look at it again and again and again, and because you go like you heard it, because obviously you thought of it, you go, "That's shit. That's just boring to death. I have to think of something else now."
Were there any bits that tripped you guys up more than you'd expected, or anything that you were particularly oh fucking hell, this is not fun. This is not good, and you can be honest, it's fine.
The wheel threw me, and I was just like, "Oh no, I don't know if we can do this."
I think it was Frank's. I think you clocked it immediately that it was like a clock.
Yeah, I was going to say, I really, my brain doesn't work in this way. I'm not a lateral thinker. I'm not very good at solving things. But when I saw, I was glad I had one element that I helped with, because I saw the clock and I was like, yes, I've done something. I don't know quite what I've done. Someone else can figure it out.
Straight on the beers after that, though, wasn't it? It's like, I'm done. Give me the old grey mares or whatever they're called, yeah.
It does feel like every school exam or every school or group project I've ever done, where I've just been on the peripheral, it's just floating on the back. I'm trying to be there for moral support and anything else.
It's where you get the 1,000-yard stay. It all comes flooding back to you, all those group projects, all those exams. Just, I can't go back there, man. I can't go back there.
Yeah.
What have you actually done?
So for listeners who don't know, because I'm not sure how big our Welsh contingent of listeners are, but the horse skull with the shroud is a fun Christmas tradition in Wales. It's a fun little folklore thing that we have called the Mary Lloyd, which I think translates literally as the Grey Mare, which is
Mary
the
Lloyd.
Mary Lloyd. And
there's a few reasons why I think she's called that, but it's different variations of why it's either grey horse or but the fact that when that first came up, I was so happy. I was like,
yeah.
I felt straight at home. But it's the least. It became really popular again. So it was like a pagan thing of it would knock on your door and you meant to sing to it, or it would sing at you as well.
Yeah.
And you're meant to feed it, stuff like that. But it kind of it stopped being in society up until the Victorian era, and then the Victorians loved it again, so it came back really popular, and then it died off again, and now recently it's become more popular again. So you'll see them at Dickensian fairs and at Christmas time, but it's so un-Christmassy. It's a actual horse's skull, and usually, it's not a prosthetic, it's real horse's skull, and it's got children sometimes underneath it, and it's got a big broom.
Well, they do.
Head up.
I was going to say, anyone who's been to, well, not anyone, but I think a lot of people who've been to Welsh primary school, certainly in my school, you go to assembly just before Christmas and stuff like that, and then they bring a Mary Lloyd in, and like Frank says, it's a genuine horse's head, and it's got a spring within the mouth, so that they wrench it up and it snaps. And I swear to God, it gave me nightmares, because it's under this ghostly sheet and stuff, and they snap it in your face. And I'm just thinking, if you get an inch or two off,
Merry
that's
Christmas.
That's my nose. You've had it.
Be good, children. The thing is, and it's not even pitched as a scary thing. It's just it's the Mary Lloyd. She's coming in and she's going to sing some rhymes, and you better let her in, or she'll fucking have you.
I think that's
you're meant to
isn't it? You better sing some rhymes, or she's going to come in and snapping in your face all the time. That shit.
I did see something on social media, I think it was last year, and it was, so essentially what it is, horse comes to the door, you have a rap battle with it, and if you lose, it drinks all your beer.
I mean, that's classic Welsh,
Yeah. We cover it on one of our episodes, and we say it's just some drunk on the street. It's oh, come on, and he's written all his quotes on you, and he just sat at your family dinner table drinking all your carling. Absolute drunk uncle.
Yeah. I took some artistic licensing with the Mary Lloyd. So the rap battle is it Punko? The poetry battle, slam poetry. Mary Lloyd isn't a demonic thing with teeth fell down to pints. It's just a normal horse skull, but like I wanted to make it spooky, so it's got like gets increasingly like aggressive, like in the Bloodhound Gang song, "The Ballad of Chasey Lane," where he gets more and more pissed off as time goes on. That's what I was channeling when I was writing those rhymes from the Mary Lloyd.
As Franco said as well, with the as Franco said as well, the little modulator thing on the voice. God, when it came in, and I wasn't expecting it.
It was really good.
I almost was going, oh,
I was hoping for it.
People might also know it because it's in the latest Assassin's Creed, the Valhalla, which is like a quite popular video game.
Is it?
Yeah. You can get his mask and everything. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, there's like a little side mission where this horse has been terrorizing the town, and it's just a group of children or someone in the group who had it, and it's called the Mary Lloyd. And there's a surprising amount of Welsh spoken in that game, and as people who love Wales, we love anything, but we think Wales is quite underrepresented in its history. Whenever when people make the time to do something about it, so it's a big American game, but they've taken the time to research things in Wales, and they have like Welsh actors doing it. And then the Mary Lloyd.
I've got that game. I've never seen it.
That's so cool.
There's a bit where you have to fight the Welsh. Actually, and me and Frank said we both had like real like internal conflict because you have to kill these Welsh people. Like, I can't do it. It's going to lose my country. And then, it's rough.
Yeah.
One of the best things about the Assassin's Creed Black Flag game was the fact that the main character was from Swansea.
Yes, he was.
He was. Yeah, the pirates were Welsh as well.
Well, that's the thing.
Boys, this is lovely.
There's a huge amount of Welsh pirates. That's one of our first ever episodes. Is on Captain Morgan because of for how prolific pirates were, and also they were really prolific in one area of Wales. So it was down in like West Wales, in quite a small area called like Punchestown. Oh, it's called like Punchestown is where he's from, which sounds like one of those places you say what you see. So it's called Punchestown.
Punchestown?
Punchestown. Punchestown. Sorry.
No, it's like you heard and you were like
Valhalla. Sorry, we got.
No, go on. You go.
I was just going to say, if you Google Mary Lloyd Valhalla, you see that the character in that wears the horse mask. And,
that is cool.
Yeah.
See, I need to play Valhalla now, just to try and get to that stage. This is what I was hoping for, that I would seed in a nugget of historical information, just like a word or two, and then you both would be like, right, I know exactly what this is, and you could run with it. This is good. I didn't have to do any research. This is perfect. The script that you had, the lines that were carved into the wood and the alphabet that you had, that is the alphabet of the old Celtic druids called Ogham. The Irish had it, and they found some cases of it in Wales as well. So that was how they communicate. You find them on like sacred stones and stuff. So it's all like, most of them I think are vertical lines that are carved in stone. And it's got that sort of weird notch.
You know what is interesting about that is there's a phrase in Welsh, "igam-ogam," and it means like if you're a bit this way and that way, you're flipping between something
zigzag.
You're zigzagging almost, So igam-ogam, that would kind of make sense if it's on one side or on the other. I don't know if that's the actual thing of it, but what's called the etymology. I don't know if that's where it's from, but that's.
That is so cool. I love that. What I found weird as well when I was researching for this is that Mary Lloyd, famous for going door to door and pissing people off, begging. When I was doing the research, the number of folklore Welsh Christmas traditions that I found that were basically going door to door, pissing people off and begging. And they were all sort of really popular in sort of the Victorian era. You're starting to see a pattern here. Like really bad socioeconomic decline.
Is that carol singers then?
Basically, that's what it is. That's how it starts. It's like, poor working conditions and people living on the breadline going door to door, pissing people off and begging for things.
I'd be much more accepting of carol singers knocking my door if they were in like the other skulls of animals. You know what I mean? Just different variations.
Look at the fucking Lost Boys coming at you with singing Hamilton. I'd give money to that.
Clapping along. This is great. Come on, man, let's wrestle up £1 for him.
The holly that was on the fireplace. I'm going to just bombard you with trivia now. This is my jam. Sneaking shit into the episode. The holly on the fireplace, Christmas wreath, But another weird Welsh Christmas tradition that I found. Apparently, my online researcher said that this is a tradition. Maybe this is just a person with a fetish trying to justify it. A thing that happened in Christmas back in the day was that the person who got out of bed last on Boxing Day was beaten with sprigs of holly and chased through the village and just fucking battered with it. I'm like, this sounds really mean. This can't be a real thing that happens to people.
It could be.
To be fair,
the village, I suppose. Yeah.
that comes in waves in Welsh history of just being needlessly nasty and like physically abusive to each other. We did an episode on this this old Celtic like essentially football game called Q&amp, and it's all you do is you get like this really slippy ball. It's like boiled in animal fat, so like really hard to hold on to, and it's like literally town v town. You got the premise of the game is to grab the ball and take it to the opposite town
parish.
Church hall parish. Yeah.
Oh,
Opposite parish's church hall, but there's literally no rules barred. You can beat the shit out of each other. The rich people used to ride in on horses with like sharp sticks. They could be battered over the head. People died in it. There was a story about some guy who apparently had rubbed a few boys up the wrong way. He was too good looking. Apparently, he had really lovely hair. So on the day of Q&amp that year, they ripped all his hair out. And he had a ball.
So it's football
like
meets
1,000.
UFC.
It's like football and rugby from like it's like 1,000. You know, I think it started in like the 800s. But it was a way of training people to get used to fighting. So it was a way of like they used to do it against the Romans, even in the 500s.
Because Celts got disarmed back in the day, didn't they? So this was like the only way to sort of get battle ready and things like that. So
it was like rugby and football, but you'd play it over town. So you'd play like 1,000 v 1,000, and it was just a chance to get gripes out against each other. They went on for
Jesus Christ.
Finished around the time of Henry VIII, but they tried to bring it back in the 80s. And there's a video on BBC of like it's like Finetti v like Port Talbot, and it's just
oh my god,
locals beating the shit out of each other. It's really good to watch.
How was the game last night then, Bach? Oh, it was great. We had 17 deaths up from last year. Cracking night.
Yeah. I had my eyes gouged out. Yeah, it was great.
At some point when I was working at the puzzle for this episode, I was listening to a band called Ice Nine Kills. They're like a metalcore band, and they sing a lot about horror films is their thing. And one of their songs is called Ex Mørtis, and it's a song all about the film The Evil Dead. Kind of snuck its way into this as I was doing it, kind of subconsciously until I'd finished it. So the basement that you go into, the trapdoor, that's from The Evil Dead 2. The old voice on the gramophone is the old cassette they activate. The Mary Lloyd saying that she's going to swallow your soul, that's a line from Evil Dead. And the chant that you do at the end, the Clatu Varata Nicte, is the magic spell that Ash, the main character, says in the film Army of Darkness.
I was looking at that and I was thinking, God, it was when Al had said it, like sort of in all together. I was thinking, I know that from somewhere. What is that? Because I love Evil Dead. So I was thinking, there's got to be from something. Yeah.
I'm glad you got it, because like I realised afterwards that it was like, oh, that looks like fucking gibberish. They're not going to put those strings of letters together to make words.
I got another Evil Dead fact, if you like, that's also Welsh related. If I can just shove that in,
crowbar
it in. In the Evil Dead remake from 2013, I believe. At the start, there's these people doing like a prayer, and they're meant to be like Hungarian or something like that to try and get this girl's soul back because she's been like possessed and everything. But they didn't have anyone Hungarian or whatever the whatever language it was meant to be on set or anything. But they had someone who spoke Welsh, so they just spoke Welsh and just said it was like in the subtitles it's like chanting in Hungarian, but they're speaking Welsh.
It's Welsh. Yeah. I love it.
We also went to go see in Edinburgh Fringe a couple of years ago, the Elvis Dead, where the guy reenacts the Evil Dead playing in the background, but he's dressed as Elvis and he sings the entire show in an Elvis cod accent, and it's fantastic. It's really
so cool.
As the scenes go on in the movie, he like slowly he looks more and more like Ash. Because like he sounds like, and he like rips off a bit of clothes and like puts a little like scar here and all that sort of stuff. It's really, really good.
Oh, that sounds banging. I love that. Yeah, so for in case any of our listeners haven't listened to your podcast yet, who are you and what is your podcast?
So yeah, we're Tales for Wales. We are I would say a semi-amateur, if not purely amateur, Welsh history podcast. We like to just delve into anything we consider, and we like to think other people will consider interesting aspects of Welsh history. We do a lot of riffs. We go off on tangents and things like that quite often, but we do tend to steer it back to the issue of the week, or subject of the week rather. And yeah, it's a bit of fun for us, I think. And we started out as just a way to get together, have a few drinks, and talk about something we liked.
We were surprised, weren't we, at how much it's kind of picked up, because we did it more as just a thing we enjoyed doing. We thought maybe get, a couple of hundred listeners or whatever it would be. And it's gone. People seem to, I think, because we're trying to shine a light on an otherwise dim-litted history. Like, there's not an awful lot of content on there about Welsh history. It's often kind of for Wales, see England stuff. So I think it resonates a lot. But it's not just Welsh listeners we have. Like, we have a bunch of Americans, which are really lovely. But their contributions and comments are so much happier than they're like, this is fantastic, I love this shit. But we have we have really eclectic taste. We have lots of people from England enjoy listening to it because it focuses on like British history. Yeah,
it's gone way better than we ever thought it would, and it was just if you're a bit of a history buff like we are, we thought we were history buffs before we started the pod, realised how little we actually knew. But yeah, we do have, we have morsels of actual facts in there. So we've got books now. We're reading books. That's
every present I get. Every present I get from my partner or my family is just it's psychopathic how many Welsh history books I have now, and it's like one I had recently was Welsh folk tales based on Native American history, and they have gone so niche. They have gone unbelievably niche. Yeah,
that sounds pretty cool though.
yeah, it is.
Like, obviously, both big fans of history. Otherwise, this isn't going to work. So, did you study it, or are you just big fans? How did you get into this level?
We were both just, I think, from a very early age. We were both Braveheart heads, weren't we? Since we were kids. And I think that led us to watch more and more sort of like those historical battle movies and stuff. I think that's, for me, that's certainly where the sort of love started. And then as soon as we got a bit older, then I started like actually reading about the real historical battles that those were based on, things like that. And then, when we first started this, it was going to be, the pod was going to be just about battles originally. That was our sort of main focus, but it kind of organically changed then. Because he realised that although there's some great battles in Welsh history, to really get a sense of the country and sort of where it's come from and all that sort of stuff, you can't just focus on the battles because they're usually quite few and far between in terms of the chronology. And also, after the first season dropped, we got so many comments saying, a lot of battles in this. So, but yeah, that's sort of where it came from. And that's certainly where
I studied...
coming from.
I studied English literature and international politics, and so I used to love reading about it just like international politics at the time was just like history, and I'd always be a bit like lamenting, like, I'd love to have more stuff about Wales, and I was trying to find things online that were like digestible, that weren't like super academic and really like full on. So we couldn't find anything, so we thought, we'll give it a go ourselves. And like we said, we are absolute amateurs, but we've gotten better over time. We've had lots of we're quite grateful for we put call outs to people and say like, hey, what would you guys like to hear? And like we had such a great suggestion of stuff, and we're still learning from it, which is fun. And we changed the format, so one week Jack will cover the topic and I'll be like the naive one who doesn't know anything, and then the following week Jack shocked us in. So it's quite nice. I love it because I'm continuously learning, and I feel like sometimes learning is, I was awful at school. I can't concentrate. I got bad ADHD. I'm like just not very good at sitting still. So I didn't like it at all. But getting to learn something in a fun way, I love it, and I'm really grateful that we get to do it we have people who want to listen along, which is quite nice.
By fun he means a couple of cans as well along with it. And I could totally wholeheartedly agree. So
if you had to choose one historical figure from Welsh history, one you'd want to have a pint with, and one you'd want to have a punch in the face, who would you pick?
I know for a fact me and Frank were going to say the same one for the pint. So I might go different just to make things interesting. But
I don't know. Who would you think I'd say for a pint?
It's got to be Llewellyn, isn't it? Llewellyn ap Griffith.
So mine would be this guy called Hywel Dda, who wrote a bunch of laws. Like,
fucking knew it.
In the 900s.
You absolutely got your tongue up Hywel Dda's ass.
He was like,
that's the health board.
That's what he means. The modern Hywel Dda, the health board. He loves bureaucracy, man.
He was like this incredibly well. Also, I think Wales has always been quite a left-wing country, and that's been around for not just decades, but for hundreds of years. And he made laws that made women have the same right, or better rights when it came to divorces. Loads better rights when it came to domestic abuse and stuff like that. And for a guy who was around in the 900s, and it's not just saying that he made these laws; these were probably just laws that were in culture at the time, but he was the first person to ever codify them. And he set up what Welsh law was, and he's like one of the reasons Wales didn't get incorporated into like Wessex and stuff. And he
plug the episode. Plug it. You have an episode on it. Plug it.
We have an episode on it, and there's the Senate, the Welsh Parliament is named. There's a hall named after him where we have our politicians debate now. Is named after him, and he's 1,300 years old. Well, I'm not very good at maths, but he's so old, and yet he's still like he's a very, very influential person.
Jesus Christ, come on. I can't imagine being so left-wing that even 1,300 years ago, people now would go, Jesus Christ, you fucking snowflake.
There's honestly
rights for women.
There's some great laws in there as well. It's like if a husband smacked their wives, it'd be like they're owed money for it and stuff like that. And I can, like, at the time that was unheard of, but he was like, listen, I'm a fucking hero here. I'm taking down the patriarchy here. So.
He also, he'd he used some really bizarre, like they sound quite bizarre, but if a husband wanted to divorce their wife, I can't remember exactly what the logistics were, but if you were making your cheese and when you got divorced and the cheese was still in brine, then the wife got it in the brine, and so it meant that she got to keep it when it's good. But if they'd taken the cheese out of the brine and then they got divorced, then the husband got to keep it. So they'd often have these cases where husbands were trying to divorce quickly so they could keep their cheese.
That is so petty. I love it.
Yeah.
It's mine. The cheddar is mine.
Everything for me, mate. She's taken the cheddar.
She did right for the cheese.
She didn't take the cheese, did she? It was still in brine, mate. You know,
you know the law. I was
yeah. Since these bloody laws came in, these bloody woke liberal laws.
That didn't go the way I expected. You going from, you see, divorce. See, if a man's got some cheese, like, hang on a second, where the fuck is this going to go? Who would you want to smack in the face from Welsh history?
I think we did say Tom Sean, didn't we? But we did say Tom Sean Catty if we were going to go Welsh. But yeah, I mean, from just history in general, probably Edward I, Edward Longshanks. He was an absolute. He was a bugger. He was a bugger.
Yeah, he's the man who conquered. He's in Braveheart. He's the baddie in Braveheart. He's the reason Wales became a principality, which is no longer a principality, but it was a principality up until like the 1500s. But he was the one who introduced the Prince of Wales title, which is like a mocking title, and he made his son the first. Every time the king has a son, they become Prince of Wales. He was the main reason Wales got conquered. He's the bastard.
He was a nasty piece of work as well. I will say though, the version of him in Braveheart, I wouldn't want to smack because he's a hell of a laugh in that film. Patrick McGugan? Oh my god! Yeah. Just watch a couple of scenes of him. He's great. We quote him all the time. Just it's not even relevant. We'll quote in from that.
You'll have a pint with the actor, but the actual smack in the face.
Yeah, the actual boy. Although apparently he was a bit of a hard bastard, so maybe I'd probably lose if I smacked him.
He was called Longshanks. He was called Longshanks because of how tall he was, and he like survived assassinations. He was generally a hard bastard. He was like over 6 foot tall, which in those times was like unheard of. He was a brute of a man.
Yeah, but he's never had his nutrition from like a couple of Rustler's burgers and some Stellas, is he? So fucking
What about you, Alan? Anybody from Welsh history, modern or in the distant past, who would you want to smack? Who would you want to have a pint with?
Oh, pint, Merlin.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I can't believe.
Yeah.
Can't believe, Merlin all the way.
Give me all the secrets, sir.
Big appreciation that you're acknowledging the Arthurian legends as Welsh as well, because a lot of people don't.
Come on, then.
Do you reckon back in the day Merlin did like close-up street magic like David Blaine?
Yeah. I like to think of like Bo Select.
Is that a coin behind your ears? Oh, look at that.
It's all part of the
It's a
magic.
shilling.
Shazam.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing that me and you do a Welsh history podcast and Aled came up with the absolute best song and the definitive answer he came up with.
Yeah.
Who would you smack in the face, Aled?
Oh, I don't know. I really don't know.
Because we're all good. We're all shining beacons of hope and light.
Yeah, it's not. There's literally not a bad Welshman in history ever.
Ever, okay?
In history, maybe not. In current times, plenty.
Yeah.
So, thank you for listening to the podcast. Just try to gloss over that one. So, have you two played any escape rooms before, or have you played many before coming on the podcast?
I've been to a couple in real life, and I've been swatting up and listening to a few of your podcasts this week. But yeah, it's I'm not very good at them, as you might guess from my performance in the last episode. But no, it's enjoyable. You know, when you get a clue right, when something you twig goes right and it leads to something, that is a nice feeling. That is I do have a bit of intellect about me, you know.
I've only done like one or two in real life, and I far more enjoyed this. I think in real life, you can't. The ones, even though like in real life they are, they put a bit of time into making the place look impressive. It doesn't match what you can imagine in your head. So I could see everything you were saying, and you were so descriptive. I was like, oh, this felt way more immersive, despite the fact that I'm sat on the table looking at each other.
I'm not even wearing trousers.
Just an erection and a smile. I just had, I found it so much more, way more engaging than the ones I've done in real life. And I think it helps that you guys are like all pros of it, that you've tailored it, you've crafted it.
Definitely.
And it works really well. And I do think without Aled being there, we would have been fucking useless. So it was nice.
Honestly, Aled, without you, mate, we would have that Mary Lloyd would have chomped our faces so good.
Yeah. Well, my first thing was going to be open the door and speak to the Mary Lloyd. That's my even though you said the door. My first
listen, what is your beef? Why are you here now? Come on, can we just stop this like adults?
Let's have a cuppa.
Jamie, were you afraid I was going to try and break it?
That's the reason I only put one lock in the room. So Aled has somewhat of a reputation of trying to brute force any lock that we have. So I'll be like, you have a 3-digit lock. Try the code 000. Doesn't work. 001. No, it's 00. I can keep this up for half an hour. I can get more combinations.
I sit there for hours just doing every combination.
Also, there's this thing it's locked. Right, okay. Is there a hammer in the room? There is. Perfect. Right.
Yeah.
No,
how hard is my skill in this scenario? What if I smash that repeatedly against it? Will that break the lock open?
Me cup my hands over the fire, take a handful of fire and throw it at the fucking Mary Lloyd. Job done, boys. She's gone. Ding dong, the witch is dead.
What if I'm hard as nails and I just batten the Mary Lloyd? Does that count?
What if I open the door and go, come at me, bro? Come at me.
Put my vest on and just fucking nutter.
Yeah, what if I down all the wine and beer and just nail him?
I think the barkeep is signal for last orders. So before we go into the cold winter night, chaps, let's go around the room and give our listeners a recommendation of something that we've listened to, watched, played, been to, seen, anything you'd like to recommend that people check out.
So this is on Disney Plus, which I don't rate often. I don't think there's much on there that's I've really enjoyed, but there's this fantastic series called Mr. Inbetween, which is a like black comedy. It's about a bouncer who's also a hitman. It's only 3 series, and they decided it was always going to be 3 series. It's really well wrapped up. It's funny. It's at times brutally heart-wrenching, but it's really, really, really funny. Only 30 minutes an episode, so if you've got quite a busy life and you can't really commit to an hour long, I'd say it's like a cross between what's the one with the drugs where they make crystal meth? It's probably the most popular show in the world.
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. Yes, that's the one. So it's like Breaking Bad meets Barry. Absolute mess of a way of trying to sell it, but it's fantastic. I really would recommend it.
Netflix has just released Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
Oh yeah, I gotta watch that.
It's good.
Because the original film they brought out way back when was I actually really, really enjoyed. It's one of my top films.
Yeah, really.
They managed to get the entire cast back
Mm.
in its entirety to do this animated series on Netflix. And obviously, when the film came out,
excellent.
A lot of those names weren't massive names.
Yeah.
Now they are. You got
I do wonder
on it.
I wonder how much the series is costing, because getting those guys back now, it's like essentially 1-for-1 on all the cast from the film.
It is, yeah.
That's amazing.
It's astonishing. Michael Cera back in it, Chris Evans, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. It's like a massive, and it's really enjoyable. And weirdly, it gives depth to the characters that was lacking in the film.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
it complements it quite nicely.
I'm gonna get Netflix again to check it out.
Yeah,
it's banging.
Good.
I would endorse that as well. Check that one out.
Top shit.
Yeah.
That's not my selection, by the way. I'm just backing up Alec on that one. Yeah, so my one, in the spirit of a kind of Tales for Wales, and I love sort of medieval battles and things, I would recommend a film. I think it's on Disney Plus at the moment, called The 13th Warrior. It's very, very loosely based on a guy called Ahmad ibn Fadlan. He was a Muslim adventurer in the 10th century. He sort of went all about and sort of met different cultures and things like that. And in real life, he came across Vikings. But in this film, it's like sort of extrapolates on that. He comes across some Vikings and gets kind of drawn into an adventure with them. Obviously, the Vikings, they want to go to Valhalla. They want to have a big fight and things like that. They get taken back from the east of Russia back to Norway to fight an evil of some kind. And he's sort of dragged along with them. And it's very good. It's got Antonio Banderas as Ahmad, and he's with a bunch of Vikings. And yeah, it's him it's very good. It's like a fish out of water action. It's 90s, a little bit dated these days, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I highly recommend it.
That's a great show. I can see the DVD cover quite vividly, but I never actually watched the film. But
yes, you can.
I should check it out.
Has it got Puss in Boots on the front cover?
Yeah, that's it.
Fear me if you dare.
If you just said that in that film, that'd be a 10 out of 10.
Antonio Banderas with a horde of fucking Vikings doing the cat eyes, just going.
Yeah.
And then a recommendation from me is, I mentioned it earlier, is the band Ice Nine Kills. They are like a metalcore band that all of their songs are related to horror films. So the one that inspired part of this episode was called Ex Mørtis, which is related to the Evil Dead. They've got songs about all the heavy hitters for horror. There's one for Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Chucky, all the big slasher flicks of the 80s onwards. They haven't tackled the classic Universal horror
that
monsters.
Sounds well up my street. I'll definitely check.
Oh, it's great. Right, so I believe that the barman is kicking us out. He's locking the doors. He's got his pajamas on. He's sipping his cocoa, just giving us the fuck off eyes. So we better head out into the night. So we shall see you next time, listeners, where we're escaping from a desolate, icy abyss with some kind of fucking shadow Santa flying above us. So that's going to be what happens next week. Thanks, John. We love you lots, and we'll see you next time on the Infinite Escape Room. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Cheers all, Turner.
Yeah.
Right, who's having a kebab? Pop out a couple of chicken wings and just a big greasy kebab straight in my face.
Oh, God,
Yes, please.
wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Half of it
You
ends
can't
up in the
tease me with
bin.
that stuff.
And so much garlic sauce, just like it seeps out of my pores. That's my idea of a good night.